Welcome. I am David. I need to tell you something. Something I've never shared publicly before. 12 months ago, I couldn't climb a single flight of stairs without stopping halfway to catch my breath. My heart would pound so hard I could feel it in my throat. My knees screamed at me every single morning, and every night I'd lie in bed wondering if I'd wake up the next day. I was 35 years old, and I weighed 289 pounds. That number haunted me. It followed me everywhere, into the bathroom mirror, into the clothing stores where nothing ever fit, into the restaurant booth that squeezed my stomach so tight I could barely eat, into the airplane seats where I'd pray the person next to me wouldn't give me that look. You know the one. The look that says you don't belong here. I'd tried everything, and I mean everything. The calorie counting that made me obsess over every bite until food became my enemy. The gym memberships I'd sign up for in January and abandoned by February. The meal prep Sundays that lasted exactly 2 weeks before the Tupperware piled up unused in my cabinet. The keto, the paleo, the intermittent fasting that just made me binge at night when everyone was asleep. Nothing worked. Or maybe I should say, nothing stuck. And every time I failed, I'd tell myself the same lie. You're just not disciplined enough. You're weak. You don't want it bad enough. But here's what I've learned since then. That voice? It was wrong. Dead wrong. I wasn't weak. I was fighting a battle I didn't understand. My body was working against me in ways I couldn't see. And no amount of willpower was going to fix what was broken on the inside. Let me take you back to the moment everything changed. It was a Tuesday. Nothing special about it. I was sitting in my car in the parking lot of a fast food restaurant. I'd just finished eating, alone, in secret like I always did. Wrappers stuffed under the seat so my wife wouldn't find them. The shame was so heavy I couldn't even look at myself in the rearview mirror. And then my phone buzzed. It was a photo from my daughter. She'd drawn a picture of our family at school. Stick figures. Me, my wife, her, and her little brother. But the version of me she drew, it was thin, happy, playing with them in the yard. That's how she saw me. That's who she believed I could be. And I was sitting in a parking lot, hiding cheeseburger wrappers, slowly killing myself. I broke down, right there. Tears streaming down my face, sauce still on my fingers. I didn't recognize the man I'd become. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel sorry for myself. I felt angry. Angry at the diets that promised results and delivered nothing. Angry at the fitness industry that made me feel like a failure for not having six-pack abs. Angry at myself for giving up so many times. But mostly, I was angry at the idea of my kids growing up without their father. That night I couldn't sleep. I stayed up researching. Not the usual stuff. Not the fad diets or the celebrity workout programs. I went deeper. I started reading about metabolism, about hormones, about why some people can eat whatever they want and stay thin while others gain weight just looking at bread. And that's when I stumbled onto something that made me stop scrolling. It was a study, a real one, not some influencer selling a product. It talked about how certain natural compounds can actually reset the way your body processes fat. How the problem for most overweight people isn't laziness, it's biology. Our bodies get stuck in a mode where they store everything and burn nothing. No amount of running on a treadmill fixes that. No amount of starving yourself fixes that. You have to address what's happening inside first. I was skeptical. Of course I was. I'd been burned too many times. Every miracle solution had left me heavier and more hopeless than before. But something about this felt different. It wasn't promising overnight results. It wasn't telling me I'd never have to work for it. It was just science. Simple, boring science. So I tried it. I told myself I'd give it 30 days. Just 30 days. If nothing happened, I'd move on. Add it to the pile of things that didn't work, and keep searching. The first week, I noticed something strange. I wasn't as hungry. Not in a forcing myself to eat less way. Just the cravings quieted down. That constant noise in my head telling me to eat, eat, eat. It got softer. By week 2, my pants felt different. Not loose yet, but not cutting into my waist the way they used to. By week 3, I stepped on the scale for the first time. I'd been avoiding it, too scared to see nothing, too scared to have my hopes crushed again. I'd lost 11 pounds, 11 pounds without starving, without spending hours at the gym, without hating every second of the process. I actually laughed out loud, standing in my bathroom at 6 a.m. laughing like a crazy person. That was the moment I knew something was actually working. But I want to be honest with you, it wasn't magic. I didn't just take something and watch the weight melt off while I sat on the couch eating pizza. That's not how this works. That's not how anything works. What changed was my body finally started cooperating with my efforts. When I ate better, I actually saw results. When I moved more, I actually felt stronger. The wall I'd been hitting for years, the one that made every attempt feel pointless, it was gone. Month 2, I was down 27 pounds. I started parking farther from the entrance at work, taking the stairs. Not because I had to, because I wanted to. Month 3, I hit 45 pounds lost. My wife looked at me one morning and said something I'll never forget. "You look like the man I married." I almost cried. Month 4, month 5. The weight kept coming off. Slowly, steadily, sustainably. I wasn't torturing myself. I wasn't white-knuckling through every meal. For the first time in my adult life, I felt in control. By month 8, I'd lost 89 pounds. I went shopping for new clothes and actually enjoyed it. I bought a medium shirt. A medium. I hadn't worn a medium since high school, and then came the day I stepped on the scale and saw it. 184 pounds. I'd lost 105 pounds. Over 100 pounds of weight that had been crushing me for over a decade. Gone. But here's the thing. The number didn't matter as much as I thought it would. What mattered was everything else. I could run around with my kids without getting winded. I could sit in any chair without worrying if it would hold me. I could look at myself in the mirror and not feel disgust. I could be present in my own life instead of hiding from it. My blood pressure dropped. My energy exploded, my confidence. Something I thought was gone forever came roaring back. I got my life back, and I didn't think it was possible. A few months ago, I ran into an old friend who hadn't seen me since before the transformation. He literally didn't recognize me. Walked right past me. When I called his name, he turned around and his jaw dropped. "What the hell happened to you?" he asked. I just smiled. What happened was I stopped fighting my body and started working with it. I found something that addressed the real problem, not the symptoms, but the root cause. And I gave myself permission to believe that maybe, just maybe, I wasn't broken. I'm not telling you this to brag. I'm telling you because 12 months ago, I was exactly where you might be right now. Hopeless, exhausted, convinced that nothing would ever work for someone like me. And I was wrong. If you've been struggling like I was, if you've tried everything and nothing seems to stick, I want you to know that it's not your fault. Your body might just need a different kind of help. The exact method I used is in the description below this video. I put it there because I know some of you are going to ask. And honestly, I wish someone had shared it with me years ago. It would have saved me so much pain. Take a look if you want, or don't. That's your choice. But whatever you do, please don't give up on yourself. Because the life you deserve, the one where you feel strong and healthy and alive, it's waiting for you. I'm living proof.